Hello everyone and welcome to another Feed Army video. My name is Emmanuel and in this video I want to demonstrate to you a script that I have developed, which is a paid version that you can use to set up very advanced Google Ads campaigns. So what this script does is pull Performance Max data from Google Ads and submits it to a Google Sheet. From then you can use a Google Sheet file into Google Merchant Center as a supplement feed, which allows you to set up feed rules for example, custom labels. Let's assume we want to separate a campaign for converting products versus non-converting. What the feed rules should be then is that if conversions is greater than 0, set the label to converting, else set to non-converting. Then this custom label will then show up in Google Ads, and then you can set up two Performance Max campaigns, one for converting products and one for non-converting products. That allows you to then let Google focus more on these specific products, because Google will then not think about the non-converting products and really focus on these converting products, which should in theory increase your performance. And that is actually the case where I want to demonstrate to you in an account that I have. So the rules that you can set up is, of course, you can do other things like, let's say you want to exclude products that have a high impression rate but low CTR. So all of this PMax data will be in a spreadsheet, and I will show you everything down the line what you could do, and pretty much the imagination is the limit. So in this account you can see I've started on the 25th of March. This setup has existed where I've separated non-converting versus normal converting. The resulting factor, if we compare the same period to the previous period, is that the sales increased by 68%. This is not a seasonal event because the seller is selling an item that is for all seasons. So you can see that the conversions have increased in the PMax campaign where I'm only targeting converting products. So if we go here and go to Asset Group, then choose Listings. And then as you can see, I've set up converting, and then everything else is because we're not targeting specific ones. But if we go to the other one, Asset Group, Listing Group, we can see, so I'm using a custom label. So if we subdivide, there we go. So custom label, converting versus non-converting. And then I target, for example, the product group or product type as the second layer to target very specific items, so that I can have specific assets for each category. And the free script can then just basically pull this data. However, if you want to also pull the data for the second campaign, so as we can see, when we've submitted the products in the second campaign for non-converting products, we can actually see that it also has conversions. Not as much, but 11. Now what we want is both of these campaigns, pull both data into one spreadsheet so that you can use that as a supplement feed. So if we go to your MCC account, so this script is only for MCC users, so if you have a client account. So what we want to do is go to Tools and Settings, then Bulk Actions, Scripts, and then you can simply create a new script, which then allows you to add the script that you have paid for. So what you want to do is first add user account ID, so you can just find it in the top corner and then simply look at your account ID. So you add that first of all. Then if we scroll lower, you can then set the days that you're wanting to collect the data from. So one thing you have to be aware of is if your Performance Max campaign was only created 7 days ago, then make sure that you set this to 7 days. Because if you set it to, for example, 8 days, then it will show an error that there's no product ID. So always make sure that the count days is lower than that of the creation of that campaign. So then what we want to do is either you copy the spreadsheet that we have here, However, it's not really necessary. You can just create an empty spreadsheet with no data inside. So this is just an example file, but you can just create an empty sheet like this one here. So just an empty one. And then you copy the URL of that spreadsheet and then you paste it here. Then what we want to do is simply choose sheet 1. Now the reason why I've added a ability to change the sheets is for even more advanced setups that I will explain after this. So what we want to do first is then add the campaign name of the first campaign. So in this case, US Performance Max. So we paste it in here. There we go. And then for merging the data, we'll skip that to the next step. I want to first show you how the data is pulled from one campaign. So if you want to authorize, I recommend you reload, because in most cases you will get a red error that it says you can't authorize, but by just reloading that will work. So here we go. So we link it up, allow, and now that is done. So we just click on run. And as you can see now, all the data from the first campaign is added. So now that we have the first campaign, we can actually merge the data of the second one. So we just copy the name of the campaign. We go to our script and then set merge to yes. Then set the days to 14. And then add the campaign name of the second one. So you can set it to longer, but again, make sure that you don't exceed how long the campaign has existed. So if the campaign is 21 days old, then just only add the 21 days before. So you will have to update this every week to ensure that you have more data. So what we do is just click on save, then we run. And then when we go here, we can see that now the data is merged from two different campaigns. You can then use this spreadsheet to link it up into your Performance Max campaign. So what you do is go to products, then feeds, then add a supplement feed. I will just call this test because I will not use this data, but just link it up. So Google Sheets, okay, use an existing one. Use the empty sheet that I just created. It will of course be whatever the name that you gave that sheet. So then you link it up to the primary feed and then verify the linking. And there we go. So it's now added. Make sure that you fetch it now. So you click on Fetch Now in the top right corner, and that you change the settings to fetch the schedule daily, and make sure that it is enabled, and click on Save. It will take half an hour to maybe a few hours for the data to be applied to all the products. However, as I have already have the performance data, I will show you now how to apply the feed rules. Now, this feed rules, you can do whatever you want, because you can use the impressions, you can use the clicks, the CTR conversions, conversion value, cost, or ROS. So the imagination is a limit in how you want to set up your campaigns. But in my example, I wanted to separate the conversions versus non-conversions, and using the custom label as that. So what you would want to do is then click on the plus icon and then choose custom, and then choose the first one. Now I've already created it, so I will go through what the feed rule would be. So what you want to do is the data sources, and the first one, the rule is, so if you go to supplement feed performance, choose conversions, and then set it to is greater than 0, and then I want to set it to converting. The value that you want to choose can of course be whatever you want, even in your own native language if it's not English. So then click on OK. And then the second one, so what we want to do is actually click on add source. And then what we want to do is just set it to non-converting or not converting. So whatever you want. And then click on OK. But I will cancel that because I've already added it here, as you can see. As you can see, actually it says equals and greater than 0. This is what we need to change. So we do not want a rule and it's just set on non-converting, because we do not want to check again if it's equal to 0, and that will be a much better option. So the first one is if performance conversion is greater than 0, set to converting. Otherwise we will set it to not converting, and here you can see it. What we want to do is check if it works. So this is the second campaign because we have a merge data, so we want to copy this, then go to our rule, set that, but make sure the US is capitalized and just enter. And then it should show up as converting. There we go. So it's a little bit slow, you have to wait a little bit, but then it shows as converting. So okay, we're happy with that. So then we just save as draft. And we apply it. So this process will then also take half an hour. So it will take a while before you can set up your campaigns. But basically what you want to do is to ensure that you choose the custom label to separate it by the subdivision custom label, as you can see here. Of course, you could in theory also apply to a product type if that is what you want. So for example, you want to change the product type value based on impressions or clicks. However, I'm not sure why you would want to do that, but I'm just showing to you that you could in theory set up rules. So let's have a look. So you can go to 1. So the condition, so performance, so you can see you can choose any of the values that you want. Of course, no point to do ID, but clicks, conversion value, conversions, cost, CTR, impressions, and RS. So RS is another one that you might want to do. So separating them into different campaigns. So that is then how you merge two different campaigns into one. So using the script, you can then merge this data, and this script you can then run every single day, and then the spreadsheet will be updated, and then Google Merchant Center will then update the feed rules, and then it goes into Google Ads, and then Google Ads will update again. So this is a great way to make more defined and highly advanced campaigns. Now let's assume you're targeting one country, but with different PMax campaigns with different RS targets. This is very possible. So what you want to do is actually change the sheet name. So you use one spreadsheet, and in each sheet you change the sheet name. So let's go here to my next example. So as you can see, I've got group 10, group 3, 5, and these are actually different RS targets. So each campaign has its own script, and then it submits the script to a different spreadsheet. So what you would want to do is simply create another script. So let's say this one is group, so in capitals, group 10, and that is for US Performance Max. Let's say it is RS10, and then you run this campaign on the same spreadsheet, and then it will go to group 10. It will place it here. Then we will copy this script and add another one. So you can just go to scripts and then copy it. And then the next one you would say, for example, 8. And this is for another campaign that you have. And then you do that, click on save, let it run, and then it will go to, let's say here, group 8. Now to submit all this merged data, because assuming because you're targeting one country, you want all this data in one spreadsheet, in one sheet, not in separate ones, so that Google Merchant can read it. So if it's all in separate ones, Google cannot read it. So what you want to do is go to the last column, you call that sheet's name, and then you target group 10, which is the sheet that we have called it here, down there. And then we want to go from A to H. And that is the data that it will copy from 10, A2 to H, and it will copy all the rows. You want to then just add the heads. So simply copy the header here, copy, and then paste it here, and that's what you want. In the first column, you then want to set isArrayFormula query, and then we direct the data that we want to copy from each sheet. So indirect I2, which is this one, then indirect I3, I4, I5, and so on. So each sheet you want to add here. So you can see we have group 10, group 3 and 5, group 10, group 3 and 5, and then it will copy. Now this spreadsheet I will share with you guys so that you can just use it as an example, so that the only thing that you really need to change is the data that goes into each sheet. So what you can do, of course, if you want to rename this, let's say you want to just call it RS5, right? Then in sheet 1, you want to call this RS5 exclamation mark A2 colon H, and then it copies this data, and it will automatically update every time any of the sheets update. So you can see that, for example, let's say here's a short list, so group 3. So we can see that there's only 258, but if we go to sheet 1, it has actually copied all the different products in every sheet, so over 20,000 products. And that is why you can then use this sheet into Google Merchant Center. You add it again as a spreadsheet, as a supplement feed, and that allows you to set up feed rules that applies to all campaigns. So that is what you can do. So here you can see, for example, I've got a UK Performance Max with no assets, and group 8, group 7, group 6.5, group 6, and then I've created a script. Let's go here, discard changes, that's fine. So you can see then I have all these scripts running every day that pulls in the data to group 10, as you can see here. And then it goes into the spreadsheet, not the first one, but whichever. So this we need to rename to group 10, otherwise it will not work. And then it goes to is going to get copied into the first sheet, and then you can use that sheet into Google Merchant Center as a supplement feed and set up the rules. The reason why you want to merge all the data, of course, is that because not every product will be in every campaign. So we have, like, maybe in group 8 we maybe have 500 products, and then in group 7 we have maybe 1,000 different products, and all this data we want to actually have in one spreadsheet, and that is why we have this one set up. So what you don't want to change is the first A2 column. So I've got all this data, unless you want to add more sheets. So if for example you have 10 sheets, then you can add another one down here. Let's say that is RS15, and we will add a sheet that says RS15. Oh, not here. We will go and rename this. So RS15. Doesn't matter what the name is, as long as you reference it correct. So RS15, there we go. And then in here, A2, what you want to add is you just copy the semicolon indirect between brackets I8, but instead of I8, you want to do I9. And then all the data is imported. So let's say we just add, so ID Let's just copy the headers and just call it test so that we can 1000. Then we go to sheet 1 and we search for test. It will take a while because this is a big sheet. And now you can see at the bottom it's added 1000. Of course, when you then update all the other, let's say just 10.5, 1 conversion, 100, cost is 5, RS is 2, let's say. And then when we go to sheet 1, you can see all this data is added. And then because this is the first sheet, because you need to make sure you don't change the order, first sheet, then when you add it into Google Merchant Center, it will then use that sheet, so the total product information, as a supplement feed, and then you can then apply feed rules in the primary feed based on your performance data. Now, if you have any questions, you have any feature requests, or anything that you would like to ask, feel free to contact me either by commenting in the video below or contacting me on the website. Feel free to reach out, and then we can discuss how to improve it. So that is what we can do. If you like this and you would like to see other types of scripts to being developed, feel free to reach out as well. Thank you for watching, and good luck with your new setups. I look forward to hearing what you have created. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.